Hello everyone, and welcome again to my free guitar acoustic lessons course, whatever we want to call this. My name's Kirby Swinnermer, and I'm just going to show you over the next, 10 days or so how to play some songs on the guitar, learn a few chords and some rhythm patterns and so on, get you started. And today, what I want to talk about is, well, before we're done here today, I'm going to show you how to play your very first song. And you're not even really going to be playing any chords yet. You're probably going to wonder, what is he on? Trust me, this will be a little bit of an eye-opener if you're brand new at guitar. But it'll encourage you as well, which is exciting, because once you learn your very first song before you learn any chords, then, then we can progress from there. Typically what will happen in teaching an acoustic guitar is you'll get thrown a whole bunch of chords at you and a whole bunch of variations on the chords, and then there'll be some basic rhythm, and you'll learn a couple of songs, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3 chords in a song and so on. What I like to do is to try a little different approach and show you that you can actually play a song without even learning a full chord. Okay, and I'm going to show that to you, and I'll give you two examples, but there's a lot of songs that are like this. And what we're going to talk about. Before we get into playing anything on the acoustic guitar, of course, we have to have it in tune, obviously. Now, when I strum down across these strings, this guitar is in tune. It's in what's called a standard pitch tuning. And if there was somebody sitting there with a piano and he was playing a chord, I could play the same chord, we'd be in tune. If somebody walked in with an accordion and played the same chord, he'd be in tune with the piano player and with me. And if a guy over here pulled out a harmonica and played the same chord, we'd all be in the same tune. Now those three guys would be in standard pitch, and they really can't get out of standard pitch, because that's just the way it is. But a guitar, a stringed instrument, you can tune out of pitch and get into a lower pitch if you want to. But typically we would be tuned up to the keyboard and whoever else is in the band that's playing along with us, the bass player and so on and so forth, in what's called standard pitch tuning. Now to get the standard pitch, depending on your guitar, you may have a tuner built in. This one is an APX 500 Yamaha. It's a $300 guitar. As I said yesterday, it comes with a built-in tuner. Battery on this is dead now, but there's a battery underneath here. There's two little screws. You pop this off with a little 9-volt battery. You screw it back in, and when you turn it on and hit one of the strings, a letter will light up, and it'll either flicker, I think is what it does, if it's not quite in tune. And so you just tweak a little bit, keep hitting the string, look down, and then the letter will be solid, and then you'll know you're tuned. And then you go down over the 6 strings and do each letter. Or you can buy the tuners externally and just lay it on a table in front of you, and they'll have like a letter for each string on the guitar here, and you set that to the E, and you pluck the string, and either a light will come on or a needle will hover trying to get into the center line, and you just keep tuning that till the needle gets where it's supposed to be in the center, and so on. Sometimes you'll have lights on either side, and then the lights will go out when you get to the right pitch. Or you can go on the web, and there's lots of tuners online. I've got one on my website, as I said yesterday, at the bottom of my home page, and it's got a letter and a little switch, and you click it and it'll go bing, 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 and then it gives you time to keep plucking the string and tune it up until you get tuned up. Get all 6 strings. Now the strings are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 from the bottom up. The first string is the bottom and the 6th string is the top. That's how they number these strings, and each string represents a different note. So that's an E note, that's a B note, that's a G note, that's a D, that's an A, and at the top I have another E note. Right? So that's what we want to do. We want to get all 6 strings tuned to a standard pitch tuning, and then we're good to go and start ready to form some chords. Now, I'm not going to go into too many. I'm going to show you a chord today. I'll show you one chord, but I'm not actually going to play that chord, but I'm going to show you on what I want you to kind of focus on a little bit today. And in fact, just learning a little bit of a song. Because I know one of the discouraging things is that you typically have to learn, chords, and you have to play a bunch of rhythm patterns and so on, and then you get to play a song eventually. I thought, why not play a song right before we learn how to play any chords? Wouldn't that be cool? So that's what I'm going to show you. All right, so your elbow, as I said yesterday, you lay that kind of right in the corner here as the guitar is coming up across the top there, just on the top position, and you just lay that in there nicely, kind of lay it in against your chest. Now I'm holding this guitar up like this so you can see what I'm doing. Typically you would probably lay it on your knee and play it this way, or you know, if you happen to like to play a guitar this way, maybe with a strap and hold it up in this position, but I'm just holding it this way in case you're wondering, just so you can see both of my hands here. So I've got it kind of up in this position on purpose. But the right hand back here, there's a couple of ways of doing this. Now if I just bring my hand down and lay the fleshy part of my hand here against the bridge, I got my elbow tucked in, I got my hand laying on there nice and relaxed. I've got the pick between my fingers, my thumb and my finger, with about a third of it sticking out. All right, and I want that you know, perpendicular to the strings. I don't want it this way, and I don't want it this way. You know, and I don't want it cocked up or cocked down or whatever. I want to kind of have it straight on to the sound hole, pointing right into this hole here. So I've got holding my guitar here. I've got my hand laying on the posts back here on the bridge. And I could use this as a fulcrum, kind of as a pivot point, if you will. Just, you know, play all downstrokes, strum down across the strings. Now I can lay these three fingers, I can just lay them on the board, just like I'm scratching the board here with my fingers as I do this. That's one way of doing it, just get comfortable doing that, playing all downstrokes. What you want to do also is get used to playing up like this. We're not playing any chords, this doesn't make any sense in terms of musical sound, but we're kind of just making noise here actually. But what I want you to do is get into a habit of just doing this. Now I've got my arm lifted at this point. You see my hand's not resting against the pins back here, and I can use my three fingers and I can kind of just, you know, raise my hand up a little bit like that as I'm playing along here. So it depends. You may want to lay your hand against the pins on the bridge and just rotate it this way. Or you may want to extend your hand out a little bit, lift it off the board a little bit here, and use more of a full arm and use your elbow back here as your fulcrum point. Right? But I've kind of got these fingers laying against the board as a resting point, as a you know, position the pick away from the hole at a certain distance. Because sometimes people they're afraid, they don't know what to do with this hand. They can't, like, well, what do I do with this? Do I lay it on the board? Am I going to hurt something? And a lot of times if you're trying to play without any kind of a brace back here, you end up missing, you know, the notes. So just get comfortable with that. Just play all downstrokes, a little bit of it up. Just mainly so you don't lose the pick, and that you got an idea how hard to press this so that it doesn't get caught and hooked and fall out of your hand. Right? Play all downstrokes, a little shuffle, play a couple of upstrokes. Makes no sense, I know, but what it does is it gets you in the habit of playing a shuffle back here with this pick and not worrying about losing it. Now I'm going to show you, so just practice that, just get comfortable. We're not even playing any chords here, but this is important, just to hold the guitar up and hold it in whatever position is comfortable for you. Just get used to dragging your fingers on the skin of the board here, or lay it against the bridge. Do it this way. Some downstrokes, some upstrokes, some shuffle. Try using your arm as a fulcrum back here as well. You may find that a little more comfortable. You can lift your hand right off the board if you want. You can lay your fingers there. The idea is just to get comfortable raking across these strings. Now I want to show you something here. The chords, as I said, we have the alphabet A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. Those are the major letters by themselves, if you will. what we call the major chords. We've got 7, A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. And then we have variations of those. We have an A chord, we have an A minor chord, we have an A seventh, we have an A diminished, we have an A augmented, and so on. There's probably tons of other variations as well. So, and some of these chords can be played in various positions on the fretboard. I could play my A chord, for example, here. I could play it here. I could play it up here, and so on. All the chords have various positions that you can play these in. Typically, though, you're going to play most of your stuff down in these 5 frets. Most of the chords are even in these first 3 frets is where you're going to be most of the time. But before we get into chords today, I want to show you something that's kind of cool. Every chord has what's called a root note. So if I'm going to play an A chord, I'll show you what the A chord looks like very simply. We got the A note, so that's the root note of the chord. And then my A chord is made of these 3 strings being pressed right here on the 2nd fret. And I play my root note, and I just strum down over the rest of the strings. And there's my first chord, my A chord. I've got my thumb behind the board here. I'm pushing, I'm kind of like pinching it together, like a little bit of a vice. And you can do a little bit of a squeeze, and you should get a nice clean sound there. You can play your A this way as well by laying your index finger across the whole bottom 4 strings and just play not all the way down to the bottom. You can play just down maybe as far as the B. So you don't hear this, you don't hear that note ringing at the very bottom because it's not supposed to be there for an A chord. But that in itself right there, I can play a song with just those 2 notes. The A string and my root note and this E note right here. See, it's the same note, right? It's the E. But it makes up part of the A chord. So those 2 notes I can play a song. Watch this now. If I do a little slide, 1, 2, 3, slide. 1, 2, 3, slide. And instead of sliding, why not use this finger? So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Now all I'm doing is playing 2 notes. I'm playing these 2 notes together. And if I come up and play there and play the E note, I'm playing an E chord. Technically it's not a full chord yet, but I can play this E note and play this A string right here on the 2nd and the 4th. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? So if just those 2 now why it's not ringing is because I've got my palm of my hand kind of up against the strings. See? So I can lay this kind of into the string a little bit as I'm that muffle sound, you hear it? So everybody knows who Miley Cyrus is, and many of you probably know her dad's name is Billy Ray Cyrus, a country artist. Wrote a huge monster hit, or recorded it quite a few years ago, called Achy Breaky Heart. It goes like this. Don't tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, just don't think you'd understand. If you tell my heart, my achy breaky heart, it might blow up and kill the span. Ooh, dun 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 dun. You can play that whole entire song, just those 2 chords, not even full chords. A huge international hit. It's a 2-chord song, technically. Another one. Living on Tulsa time, yeah, living on Tulsa time. That's an old Don Williams song. It's exactly the same. Don Williams plays it in a different chord though, so if you were trying to play along with him on the web, you'd be in a different key. But as an exercise, pull up Billy Ray Cyrus's Achy Breaky Heart on YouTube, the video, and sit with your guitar and play these 2 notes just exactly. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You'll hear the change. You'll hear the change coming, and then up to an E, back to an A, back to an E, and it just goes back and forth. practice that and have a little fun before we even learn any chords. You can play your first song. Okay, we'll talk to you tomorrow. See you later, folks. Thanks for joining me.